If you've followed me for the last 6 years of what I've been doing so far, then you know that I have a big respect for physics. And a lot of the things I do in token economics, in designing economic systems, in creating a lot of theories and hypotheses about token economics, all stem from the fact that physics exists. And the hard science of physics, the research in physics, gives me a lot of inspiration to do what I do, to think about economics in a new light. I've been using the analogy a lot of gravity. Gravity is a force that acts equally on all economic agents in any physical space. Whether you're an elephant, you're chicken, you are a person in China, you're a person in the US, you are a water bottle, then it doesn't matter. As long as you let things drop, it falls downwards. It doesn't fall to the side, it doesn't fall up. So I love gravity because as much as, me standing on the ground is also a very nice feeling. It is a force that acts equally on any economic agent in the space. It becomes a constraint, a confinement, a rule that everyone needs to abide by when existing on Earth. And the gravity on Earth versus the gravity on the Moon is very different. So the kind of infrastructure that we can build, the kind of cars, the kind of roads that we build are going to be slightly different. And that's okay. So what we want to do, and how do we take economics, or how do we take the gravity and put it into the economics field? Simple. In economics, when we're building these Web3 ecosystem, when we're creating these new economies, it has the same concept. We need to create unifying laws, unifying constraints that act equally on all economic agents. In John's Wrong, veil of ignorance is a very big school of thought, a very big topic in economics. The veil of ignorance says that if you cover your eyes, then any outcome, any decisions you make should be the same, whether you're making a decision for a politician, for a CEO, for a toilet cleaner, or for a chef. It doesn't matter. The veil of ignorance says that whoever you're dealing with, the outcome should be the same. So to me, I think that's very important in creating a very equitable, very ethically aligned ecosystem in Web3. Doesn't matter if you're a whale. Doesn't matter if you are the founder of the DAO. Doesn't matter if you are a core developer. Doesn't matter if you are someone that just entered this ecosystem, this infrastructure or DeFi or game. It should not matter how these incentives should be acted upon you, these different forces, economic forces that we create. So when we're designing economic systems, what we're creating is really the economic incentive, these forces, this gravity in economic terms that acts equally on all economic agents in the space. And I've been using the analogy of gravity for since 2017, 2018. They haven't gone away. Still something that a lot of people understand. But today I want to share a little bit more about using another field in physics, thermodynamics, and apply it in economics. And here I want to share with you a case for tokens. And I know that there's this whole anti-token regulation going around. During my conversations at ECC in Paris, a lot of people were quite concerned about that, but not too concerned because the world is a big space. The world is not just America. There are a lot of other people to serve, to share, and to give access to all the protocols that's being built. That being said, I want to share what I think is a case for token. Tokens are not just a security. Tokens are not just pure utility. Tokens have a lot of intrinsic purpose in what they do, how they're being designed. And today I'm going to share that from the perspective of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is a field of physics, and very specifically, I want to talk about this thing called entropy. So entropy, a way people understand entropy is where things get more and more disorganized. So if you have the sun, for example, the sun, as thousands and hundreds and millions of years go by, the sun will keep expanding. The molecules in the sun is made up of different kind of molecules. So the molecules keep getting further and further from each other. It gets more disorganized, it expands, and there's a huge amount of disorder. And that is in general entropy in a very, very simple term. So take a Lego brick, a Lego structure, and entropy is with time, all the Lego pieces will come out from the blocks and it goes further from each other, it gets more and more disorganized. But that's it. To put it in a very specific term, entropy is really the tendency for the energy to spread out. The atoms, as they move away from each other and they get further away from each other, they also have energy within them, and the energy gets more and more spread out. And I see this in a very similar way as crypto ecosystems. These atoms are kind of like people, and as the ecosystems, as games get to link with a specific game, gets to link with Aave, gets to link with Maker, gets to link with Uniswap. There will be people will start moving away from just spending all their time in this core game, and they get to interact with other protocols in the space. They get to do interoperability, they get to play with other games, other DeFi, other infrastructure, and people are kind of like energy. it's like entropy. It gets more and more and more spread out. People go to other protocols, other systems, they use other platforms, and they join other ecosystems. And that's okay, by the way. That's okay. One thing that's very important: why do we want things to be more organized? Why do we want the sun to stay constant? Because in a couple of billion years later, the sun will get more and more spread out. It has less heat energy coming together. Earth gets less heat. The plants can't keep photosynthesizing. Animals have less. Rabbits have less plants to eat. The animals have less. The predators have less rabbits to eat. We have less animals to eat. Then we all die. So I know it's a very bleak future, but it's like in a couple of billion years, so we're all dead by then anyway. The most important thing is we want entropy. We want things coming together. We want the sun to still be together, because when things are closely together, closely tied together, it does one thing. It does work. Work as in the sun giving energy to the plants. The plants absorb sunlight and energy, provides photosynthesizes, provide glucose, and grows. Work is really conditioned on things coming together, atoms being close together, people coming together, people close with each other. You create a thick market where people can interact and really transact with each other and produce work. So as people get more and more distributed, as people get more and more spread out, and we see that in globalization, how many people are constantly living in the same country their entire life? I don't know. I don't really know much people like that. People I know are really living in like one country as their home base, but they're constantly traveling for about 20 to 30% of their time. And that's very common as work gets more international, as people get to work remote, as people get to work and travel, people get to spread out. And I'm based in Singapore, and I spend about 50% of my time in Singapore. I'm constantly elsewhere around the world. Like right now, I'm in Germany. So it's not unlikely that people will start to move further and further apart, either physically or digitally. And again, we want things to be concentrated because it produces work, it creates work. And this is where the idea of tokens come in. This is where the case of tokens comes in. I said this in 2018, and I'm still saying this in 2023. Tokens are a coordination tool. It's a way to coordinate these people together and really get them closely working together, get them to behave as one community coming close to each other and produce work. And the way I'm seeing this is people get more and more spread out. They get more and more uncoordinated, just like energy, just like entropy. This is nothing new. This is out there in physics. This is out there in the physical world that we live in. And it will continue. We'll continue to see these patterns in the digital world. Nothing is new. Everything's already out there. The key difference, though, is that we are dealing with people, with humans, with behaviors that we can alter, we can change, we can influence, we can incentivize. Energy, on the other hand, you can't do anything about it. You can give light energy more tokens to produce more light and not change from light energy to heat energy when you have a light bulb at home. Energy doesn't do that. But with people, we can't do that. And this is where economic incentives come in. This is where token economics come in. Tokens become a way to incentivize people to coordinate and collaborate with each other. As we create more digital ecosystems, digital platforms, digital systems, people have the freedom to go in and out of another protocol, another platform, another ecosystem. What we do then is to use tokens as a coordination tool to get them to coordinate, and instead of entropy, where individuals get more and more spread out, we want a token as a way of almost like a coordination tool, almost like a center of gravity, identity, and incentive to pull people together to come and interact in this specific platform, protocol, ecosystem, economy. So let's take the analogy of tokens as a way to coordinate value, work being done, value being created, and transferred within an ecosystem. We take the analogy of a country. In a country, you work, you produce work, you get a salary. That salary, then you have to pay part of it in taxes. The government then takes this salary, this taxes, and build better roads, better infrastructure, better police system, military system, so that you feel safe, or healthcare system, education system. So you feel safe and you feel like you want to stay in this country. And it's just a circular ecosystem. We're doing something very similar in creating token as an incentive to increase coordination between people and the ecosystem. And what the structure and the intrinsic value of these tokens, they can come in a lot of different forms. The original value can come in a lot of different ways, shape, and forms. In the perspective of currencies that we mentioned, It's really to facilitate value flow in the system. But you can have other forms of intrinsic value, and the main driving factor is a coordination tool, a collaboration tool to allow users and individuals to come together and interact, because the natural state, the absolute natural state, is entropy. Entropy is that people go further apart and the energy gets further and more disorganized. So we need an incentive in place to organize things together, to bring things, to create structure, to provide structure, to provide incentives to get people to behave in the way we want them to behave. And so that's the case for tokens. And I hope that provides some sense and some context. Everything that we know, everything that we're doing is nothing too different from what is already known. Entropy is something that has been created and has been known for hundreds of years. Nothing new. What we're looking at is entropy, if that's a natural state, as a natural evolution to how systems will keep shifting and changing, just like the sun, just like any atoms in the world, then we will see this phenomenon in the digital world. And how do we, since that is a natural state, we want to alter the state a little, because when everyone comes together, there is a huge value in creating work being done. So we want people to be coordinated together and, really stick together. How do we do that? We use tokens. So hopefully that gives you some insights of how thermodynamics and economics and token economics has some form of correlation and link. If you are interested in more things like that, drop us the link at tokeneconomics.design.com. We do consulting and we help projects to build economic policies and, the gravity of the systems that you're in. And we also do a lot of analytics to improve the economics and incentives as we go, so that it's not just focusing on financial incentives, but other form of economic incentives to drive user behaviors. Till then, I'll see you next time. Bye.